We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels, better than Okada.
How do you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. And it is a Sunday, and you can bet it is a fun day. And not just because Arsenal had a fantastic comeback today against Newcastle. Sorry, Geordie, not really sorry. But also because we've got a great episode of Wrestling Heaven and Hell for you guys. So without further ado, let me introduce today's panel, and let's kick things off with a man who I genuinely believe has done more podcasts, more wrestling podcasts, than anybody else in this industry over the past 12 months. We have the legendary Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
I'm fired up to be here, and honestly, I appreciate the intro. Obviously, you know, Shad had to visit his in-laws today, so this morning we recorded the Wrestling Republic podcast, and that was at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and I didn't even get an intro. I basically had to wake up at 7 a.m. to get made fun of. So to get an intro that electric this afternoon, I'm fired up about. I'm stoked to be here. Heaven, hell, and purgatory. You know it's a game I'm good at. It's one of the few I can win, but I don't know. We got a tough panel today. Let's get into it.
Absolutely, we do have a tough panel, but like you said, you do have a very good record, apart from when it comes to takes about NXT, because tune in to tomorrow's episode of Wrestling Republic's podcast. It will be released 2 p.m. UK time. I believe that's 9 a.m. Eastern and 6 a.m. Pacific, or, you know, once it's out, right? You can watch it whenever, but check that out tomorrow, because trust me, I dig into Clark about that Ricky Saints take because it is absolutely ridiculous. But that is not what we are talking about today, because we have to introduce the rest of the panel. And next up, we have somebody who has been here just over a month, but has already become a fan favorite. We have Angie. How are you, Angie?
What is up, everybody? Oh, gosh, it is so great to be here. I'm looking forward to today's Sunday Fun Day, and apparently so are my dogs. They're so excited. I'm excited. Let's freaking do this.
If there are 3 things in the history of Wrestling Republic you can count on, it's Steph, taxes, and cats interrupting the program. We love it. We're big animal lovers here at Wrestling Republic. But also today, we have a debut, ladies and gentlemen, because all the way from the comment section to the broadcast itself, we have Mary. How are you, Mary?
I'm doing really, really, really good. I'm so excited. You have no idea. Been a long time coming.
Absolutely. It is a joy to have you on the show today. Fernando predicting out of the gates an MVP performance from Clark. We have Aunt You fuming at the fact that Ricky Saints defeated Obafemi, clearly agreeing with Clark there. And we've got Zach saying National Strawberry Cream Pie Day.
Whoa.
What is strawberry cream pie?
Honestly,
That's an American thing.
I've never really had one. I was
never
thinking
had
of
it.
more of like my guess would be like a strawberry filling on just like a normal, like sort of like Danish cream pie type situation. I'm not sure.
Not exactly. Like a strawberry cream pie is kind of like think like a chocolate mousse pie. Just
Yeah.
make it
Is it
strawberries.
almost kind of like a ding dong, but like strawberry?
No. Like an actual like whole circular pie.
Got it.
It's a
The
strawberry
filling is kinda
cheesecake.
similar.
It's a strawberry cheesecake.
Got it.
In a way, but with like different ingredients.
Well, either way, we'll break that down on the next episode.
Honestly,
Have a whole
sometimes I wish
episode
we had a
about
producer
cream
that could
pie.
just show the Google searches like
Check
Joe
out the
Rogan has.
strawberry pie episode coming up immediately following today's daily broadcast.
Tune in after.
But the
No,
real
they're
question,
really good though.
Oh, they're
I'll have to
delicious.
try one now. I certainly will have to. But the real question is not whether or not strawberry pie belongs in wrestling heaven, but more so what things from NXT belong in wrestling heaven. Because on today's episode of Wrestling Heaven and Hell, it is an NXTNA special. Now, if you guys have not watched Wrestling Heaven and Hell before, basically the way it works is it's 3 rounds. The first round is Wrestling Heaven, the second round is Wrestling Hell, and the third round is Wrestling Purgatory, where the panel have to try and argue why something to do with that subject has to go into either Wrestling Heaven, Wrestling Hell, or Wrestling Purgatory. And at the end of the show, I choose the winner. Well, at the end of each round, I choose the winner. And at the end of the show, we do have a winner. So, Clark, out of the gates, you have won the most Wrestling Heaven and Hells in history. So what better way than to kick us off than you giving us what you think from NXT history belongs in Wrestling Heaven?
So for me, this one was kind of a no-brainer. I was actually really excited when I saw the topic cross my desk this morning about an hour before the show. There's been a lot of eras in NXT. There's been the Black and Gold era. There's been the NXT 2.0 era, the Shawn Michaels era. There was the Full Sail era. But there's only one undisputed era, and that's what I'd love to send to Wrestling Heaven, because the Undisputed Era is one of the best factions, not only in NXT history, but in recent years in professional wrestling. It landed across the board. Adam Cole, it made in the shade. Kyle O'Reilly looked amazing. We featured amazing talent from ROH during some prime years, which I would have called dead years for WWE at that stage. Even Bobby Fish somehow looked good in this group. I love the Undisputed Era, and Roddy Strong, Mr. Backbreaker, all of the above there. The Undisputed Era, when it comes to NXT, it's one of the first names, groups I think of, and I'd love to send them to Wrestling Heaven if that's all right with you, Ben.
Well, it is certainly a great early shout. There's no denying about that. I mean, that era of NXT, goated, undoubtedly. I mean, those 4 guys together, the Bobby Fish little dig you had there, I didn't like that at all.
I had to
from
sneak
that,
one in there.
I liked it, right?
I had to
DC
sneak that in there.
DCX Warlord liked it as well, but also, and I'm going to read this comment out, right? Because DCX Warlord says, Ben and Clark, I have some breaking news. Chelsea FC played Cody Rhodes' theme
Of
song
course
at
they
one
did.
of their football games. It gets better than
Probably
that, Clark.
celebrating Ricky Starks.
It gets better than that. Because do you know what the full-time score was against Brighton?
What was it?
Brighton,
Was it Whoa
3-1 Brighton.
3-1 Brighton.
Wow.
They played Cody Rhodes' theme song. They went out there and they got battered by a mid-table
Whoa.
club. Meanwhile, Arsenal just defeated Newcastle. Sorry, Geordie, I'm not sorry whatsoever. But this
He's
isn't
not
a football
sorry.
podcast. It isn't.
We'll get back to soccer after this commercial break.
Because, Angie, I want to know what things from NXT you want to send to Wrestling Heaven.
Oop, sorry. When I had to mess with my mic and completely messed myself up. Gosh, what to send? I'm gonna say the history of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Like them being tag team, their rivalry, just their overall back and forth between just being the best of friends, hating each other, best of friends, hating each other. I honestly think it's like one of the best things about NXT's history. I think it's more of the blueprint on how to tell a story that isn't just two-dimensional. It has depth to it. and there's long time storytelling in it that makes it to where, oh yeah, because this is happening now because of this, like almost 3 years ago, like that kind of thing. So yeah, I would say definitely the history of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
A fantastic shout, there's no doubt about that. I mean, DIY back in the days, a tag team during that first run, they were literally the heart and soul of NXT, right? They literally were. Everybody was behind them. And then we all saw at the end of that, I think it was TakeOver Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, when Ciampa put Gargano through the announce table. I mean, that visual, it was shocking. Into the stage. It was brutal, but a fantastic shout, Angie, out of the gates. But up next, Mary, it is your turn. And already we've got Adrian in the chat backing you up. We got Lewis in the chat backing you up as well. A lot of people backing you up. But the question is, what are you trying to send to Wrestling Heaven?
Well, all I could say is I'm glad I changed my answer. Thank you, Clark. I would honestly just say JC Jane as a whole. Just JC Jane has honestly truly been I'd say the one sunflower in this that's been absolutely just growing, from when she was back in Toxic Attraction to when she briefly went by herself and she feuded with Gigi before she got released. But I would say just right now, as Fatal Influence alone, she has truly just captivated as being honestly one of the best heels today, in my opinion. And I would say after No Mercy, just how yes, beatable she looks, but she still just always comes out on top. And I always love that. And it's like Angie said, with growth, there's always got to be growth if you're not going to be beatable. And to her, looking is like an easy challenge. She always seems to overcome the odds. And honestly, I love that. I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, a dominant championship reign already we've been seeing. I mean, of course, she retained her championship last night. She lost one member of Fatal Influence, of course, as well this past week, but that doesn't seem to matter. She is keeping it up. There is no doubt about that. I mean, Clark, of course, on NXT Off the Air, you've been at times critical of Fatal Influence, but what are your thoughts on this title reign?
But I actually think JC Jane has been the standout of Fatal Influence. To be honest, it's funny as much
You
as
meant to argue against the take, not for it.
Normally, but I kid you not. If I'm just being completely honest with you, Ben, I do think JC Jane has been the standout, and I have no problem with that. That's hard to argue. If it's purely Fatal Influence was a bit of a failure until JC sort of hit her stride. And that I don't think is the fault of who she was surrounded by. So it's actually a hard point to argue. That's why I started from there, because I'm like, look,
okay,
the one good, it's a little bit like the one great thing that came out of Damage Control is Io Sky.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's what it feels like in my eyes, at least.
Fair enough.
Seems like there always seems to be like one particular person in certain factions that always just that stand out of everything.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong there at all. Angie, when it comes to the history of Gargano and Ciampa, why do they deserve to be in Wrestling Heaven over the Undisputed Era?
Oh, so I feel like the structure of their stories, and the way that their rivalries are put together feel more natural than some of the other rivalries that happened during their time. It feels more personal, like almost on the same level of when Edge and Christian started to feud and everything. Like it felt more personal. It's also like actually no, a better example would be like how Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were feuding and everything. It felt more personal. It felt more organic. And
Raw.
it's really hard to capture that sometimes if you're unless of course the two people that are in the feud have that kind of bond together. Like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa were like really good friends, and they were also a tag team. They know each other so well. And then when they got to a point where they started feuding, it was the most organic thing to watch. Like, and you can really tell like they're really putting their 100%
Yeah.
into the roles that they were playing.
Absolutely, really well said there as well. Drizzy in the chat saying it had more peaks and valleys, and that is a fantastic point as well. But Mary, what about you in terms of JC Jane? Why does she deserve to be in wrestling heaven over the history of Gargano and Ciampa?
I think I did have a few little technical buffers there. Sorry.
Oh, why do
No,
you
we're
think
good.
JC Jane should be in wrestling heaven over the history of Gargano and Ciampa?
Well, honestly, just like I kind of was saying earlier, just how she's kind of evolved just on her own, even in how many particular factions she's been put in, just how she tends to always be the one that's successful. Even though, yeah, she didn't really have a title run until now. She was the NXT Tag Team Champion with Gigi for so long. They were so dominant. But even when they feuded by themselves, like you could clearly see that she was way better on the mic. She delivered a lot cleaner, a lot smoother. And I felt in ring, she's obviously just, like I said, grown. Just work set, move set, maybe selling a little bit. Probably wouldn't do her justice to the Undisputed Era, since I love Adam Cole. I love the entire faction too itself, but yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, to be honest, guys, right, you guys have really given me a difficult job here because you have picked 3 phenomenal picks out of the gates, right? Often in Wrestling Heaven and Hell, we have some stinker of a pick in the first round, right? Usually it's Ignacio trying to send something outrageous to Wrestling Heaven, but in this case, it is 3 fantastic shouts, but I do have my lever, and in case you guys haven't watched this show before, I have a different lever every single episode. This time, the lever is a Nintendo Switch.
A Nintendo Switch?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the lever.
I think it's lever in America.
Lever?
Oh, you know what, right? And I'm actually... I forgot the guy's name, but he long-time follower. Shout out to him. YRND, I believe, on Instagram, right? But he tried to correct me yesterday because I wrote defenses the way which is spelled everywhere apart from America, right?
Right.
And he was trying to correct me because you guys have it wrong. If it's only you guys have it wrong.
Even the Canadians have the word gray wrong.
Actually, they have it right. You just have it wrong.
With an E? Nutcases.
Everybody spells it with an E apart from the United States of America.
Even Kobe
you guys.
And he's Canadian.
What?
Kobe's Canadian. He spells it with an A.
Oh, no, that is just messed up. So everyone spells it with an E. No, in that case, that's completely Canada's fault.
The real way.
But anyway.
Oh, no. Not the real way.
Enough of us complaining about Canada. Let's get the lever out for a second, right? Because these are 3 fantastic picks. But at the end of the day, there is one storyline which I do think is peak NXT. I do think summarizes NXT Black and Gold. That when you think back to it, that is what you think of. And that has to be Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Angie, the history of Gargano and Ciampa is going to Wrestling Heaven. But up next, it's Wrestling Hell. And this round is a TNA round. So out of the gates, Angie, kick us off. What do you want to send from TNA history to Wrestling Hell?
I'm gonna, oh gosh, where to even begin? You know what? I'll say it. The stipulation matches. The early stipulation matches.
That's a good one.
Because what? Okay, so let's break this one down a little bit. When it comes down to stipulation matches, TNA has some bizarre matches, like more bizarre than what WWE decided to give us. Like, at least WWE was just like, hey, the Punjabi prison match, probably not that anymore. We'll just have that the 2 times and not do that again. TNA is just like, nah, we've got this.
Hold my
We'll
beer.
make our own version of the Royal Rumble match and then make it to where it's all, but it's like in reverse. If you're in there for a certain amount of time, then you have to be out of the ring. Like, huh? Like, how does that make sense? There are stipulation matches that TNA has tried and thought, yeah, this is working really well, and then try to bring it back, and then it's just like, no, we were wrong the second time, I guess. So yeah, I would have to say the stipulation matches that just that's gotta go to wrestling hell for sure.
I'm actually out with the gate here going to defend TNA on this one, right? Because you are right, Angie. They have had some absolute stinkers when it comes to stipulation matches. But so many promotions just try and copy WWE and do exactly what they have done. Whereas TNA at least try and experiment with other ideas, like To the Point of DCX Warlord, The King of the Mountain, Ultimate X. They are fantastic matches, right?
That's literally it.
That's
It
literally it. That's
It
all
might be
it is.
literally it, but at least they've tried. At least they've not copied.
The reverse battle royal is hideous.
That
One
is
of
hideous.
The worst matches.
The reverse battle
Thank
royale
you, Donnie.
sucks.
Thank you.
bad.
But at least
So to Angie's point,
they've
and, like,
tried.
I can even argue that is hideous how bad that match.
Yeah,
turned out.
that's at least they've tried though. Because the King of the Mountain was the original Iron Survivor. That is true. And
Yeah,
I
that's
at least praise when it comes to, people trying something. If it fails, it fails. But at least have an innovative shout over certain promotions. At times AEW, despite the fact I love AEW, when it comes to just stealing ideas from WWE and putting their own name on it, really. But you are right. There was some absolutely stinkers. Although Drizzy loved the reverse battle royale, it seems here in the comments. But up next, Mary, what is going to be your take that you want to send from TNA history to the depths, the boiling hot depths of wrestling hell?
Oh no! Audio went out. You're good. Try one more time.
Hello?
We're back.
There we are.
Okay, now we're
We're
back.
live.
So this
1, 2, 3, go again.
my husband warned me about it. Shout out. He said, don't touch it. But if I had to get rid of one thing and one thing only, get rid of Cody Rhodes's dashing gimmick run. What was that? He was only able to feud with like one other couple. And if Brandy wasn't involved, I felt like he would have not only worked there as long as he did, he was only there for what, a year, if I'm right? But I just don't know why he carried on the least favorited gimmick from when he was in WWE over to TNA, expecting it to work when it didn't.
You know what? That's actually really funny that you say that, because that's like the one gimmick that maybe was just like,
Like
what?
I had to
Hold on.
rewatch the promo of him getting like driving in the car, and then he's just sitting there in the front seat, and then he just looks at the camera and just I was just like, no,
God,
get him
it's
out
bad.
of here.
That is
Get him outta
so
here.
funny.
The thing is, I might be getting mistaken here, right? Because earlier on, spoiler for Wrestling Public's podcast tomorrow, but I thought Ric Flair was like 15 years younger when he was in Evolution, right? So I clearly do get things a lot.
Unbelievable. We nailed Ben on this, guys.
It was bad.
It's
It's brutal, guys.
It was wild. Ben sitting here and he's like, Seth Rollins is the Ric Flair of the Vision. This man said this out loud.
I thought it was like a 5-year
He
difference.
said
It
it
was a 15
out loud. It's not even close. And I was like, no, he's the Triple H of the Vision, if anything. And Shad added by proxy. No spoilers. Check out the podcast tomorrow. But at the same time, Ben's out here trying to go with, yeah, Seth's like the same age as Flair was in Evolution.
I did
I'm
say
like, dude,
5
the man,
years
that
or
guy's
so younger.
70. It's only 20 years.
I honestly
Do the
thought Ric
math.
Flair was late 40s during Evolution. I honestly thought that, which would still make him younger than I don't really know why I said it. But my point is, was the dashing gimmick in TNA?
It was. Yes. I actually
It was a
forgot.
really
I
weird
almost
revised
I
version
forgot.
of it.
No, they did literally a month of it, Ben. And it's one of the most specific references. At first, I was like, oh no. And then I like remembered. Dude, I hate to say it. It is one of the worst stretches of booking and of programs. Like she said, the look into the camera, Ben, you have to watch the tape.
I'm gonna
so
send
bad.
it. Trust me.
Yes, it was.
It's so good.
Drizzy's wrong on this. It was. He did dashing for 5 seconds in TNA. And then they were like, oh no, that didn't work.
No.
It's literally like a 2-week run, dude. But it's hideous. It's absolutely hideous.
It's not good.
No,
I can't find anything about this.
Not
it
good.
literally
Like
was
I
2
stayed up
weeks.
most of the night last night researching, and I was like,
He looks
wait,
at the camera at the
he
end.
did.
He did try to do dashing in TNA for
It
half a
did
second. It's a
not work.
2-week run on Impact. I think it's during like this, like it's post Spike TV era. So
Yeah, it
yeah,
was
he
on
would
Spike
be.
TV because they had it in the logo. They're like, next
Yeah.
week on Spike TV, just tune in.
it's so bad.
It was not good.
I need to, of course, it was
Not
Impact
good.
Wrestling then as well.
When you first started talking about it, I was like, no, I thought it was supposed to be TNA specific. Then I was like, oh my gosh, no, wait. Like I even sent it in the chat, guys. I was like, and then I was like, oh
Yeah.
no, I forgot.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 weeks of just hideousness.
During the Global Force era. They were changing names every other week at that point. But Clark, what about you? What do you want to send from TNA history to Wrestling Hell?
I'm gonna go wild one. I feel like it's a contest now that we're getting that specific. I'm gonna send Ravens group Serotonin to Wrestling Hell because it's the most ridiculous. The flock worked. All of the Ravens groups have always worked. ECW, WCW, everywhere we go. Suddenly we get face paint. The entrances were terrible. We had the Judas Messias thing involved with him and Abyss and like what in the wide world of sports are we doing there? It made no sense at all. Thankfully I got to see CM Punk for the first time wrestle Raven.
That was next. If it wasn't Cody, it was definitely gonna be CM Punk.
That was the height of it, but yeah, for me, that's the one. And Serotonin to Wrestling Hell.
A fantastic show. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, at the end of the day, I think all of you guys have given great points here because to Angie's point, some of the stipulations in TNA history have absolutely stunk, right? They undoubtedly have. I can't really deny that. At the same time, I mean, like Drizzy says, he loves Raven, but yes, get rid of Serotonin because, yeah, there's a lot that can be said about that. But I honestly didn't know until just now that Cody Rhodes ever did his dashing gimmick in TNA, so I'm a little bit shocked about that, right? Maybe I needed to do a little bit more research on this one. But at the end of the day, guys, I have come to a conclusion. And my conclusion is this, right? He's going to kill me for saying this, but I'm going to say it. One of my best mates... I'm not going to say the name for obvious reasons, but one of my best mates, often before a night out, goes into the mirror and to give himself some confidence, watches some dashing Cody Rhodes vignettes to hype himself up.
Yes.
Did he have lip gloss too?
Yes.
He did not do that,
Oh,
but he just
no.
watches it, gets
Oh,
himself
no.
hyped up, and
Oh,
then goes
no.
out to the club. But for that
Escalated so
reason,
quickly.
I can't put that into wrestling hell. So you know what? Sorry, Raven, but serotonin is going to go to wrestling hell. There we have it. But up next, guys, it is time for Wrestling Purgatory. Now, Purgatory is something to be improved. And this round, it can be anything from either NXT or TNA history. Mary, you can kick us off this time. What do you want to send to be improved?
I'm gonna stick to more the NXT side for this one. I would just say the overall tag team division, both men and women. I'd say that needs to be sent to the purgatory, to be revised, reworked, reclaimed. I didn't say rebuild. Don't get mad at me, Seth Rollins, if you're watching. I really wish they didn't retire the NXT women's tag belts. I hot take. I don't think they should have retired them, because now we have so many lost tag teams. Like, the only select few, I'd say a handful, is obviously televised weekly, but we still have so many, let alone with the men's side too. I'd say less than a handful appear consistently when we have too many in the back just kind of waiting for an opportunity. And I would honestly say the same thing for TNA too, if I could, but I would say more for the NXT side, because both divisions, I feel right now, just need to be thrown in timeout right now. Timeout.
A very fair point indeed. And I remember back in the day, I mean, NXT's tag team division was absolutely stacked. People were saying, why isn't the main roster booking the tag team division like NXT are booking their tag team division? It was banger after banger every single takeover. And then to your point, they introduced the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, and there was an actual division, which still to this day isn't really something the actual main women's tag team division even has. And Donnie completely agrees. He says if we had NXT women's tag team belts, they could be building new teams for the main roster, which is what they need. And DCX Warlord agrees as well. But what about you, Angie? What do you want to send to Wrestling Purgatory?
See, now just went ahead and took my pick.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Sorry.
It's why we rotate who goes first.
Because that honestly is an excellent point. Furthermore, honestly, kind of doing a little bit for both brands, I feel like they both could flesh out their current stories a little bit better. Because I'm a stickler for storytelling. I absolutely adore the idea of long time storytelling. Being able to see those friendships kind of go down the drain, but in a way that feels organic. I'm a stickler for that because I like a good story. And I feel like the current storytelling is kind of declining a little bit. And so, like, for the storylines right now, I feel like if they improve them just a little bit, give them a little bit more time in the oven or something, like it would lead to some pretty awesome rivalries. You probably make a rivalry almost out of any of them, especially the women's division. I think that just a little bit more time in the oven, they would definitely turn out some pretty good stories.
Well, a very good
my
take.
pick.
Indeed. Clark, what about you? What do you want to send to Purgatory to be improved?
I'm going to talk about some current stuff here when it comes to both NXT and TNA. I'm sick of there's no such thing as the forbidden door anymore. Like, it's just a door now, and it's goofier than a football bat, and it's stupid as could be, and I'm sick of it, and I don't even care about seeing TNA people on NXT and NXT people on TNA. It doesn't freaking matter anymore. It happens every dang week, and the worst part about it is, and this is what I hate about it, now all of a sudden they make an announcement that there's this big invasion on Tuesday. It's like, what's different about the last month? What do you mean? They've been invading this whole time. Didn't Kalani Jordan just win the freaking Knockouts title? I don't know, Ben. Talk to me about that. I can't figure it out.
Do you know what I can't figure out, Clark? That you've just got some agenda against this partnership. And I'm just sick of it. So you're not winning.
Some of it I'd
You're
say
not
is
winning
justified.
this. You're
though.
not. But what I can agree with is that I really do, the more I think about it, I'm really just missing the old days of tag team wrestling in NXT. So for all that reason, Mary, tag team wrestling is going to Wrestling Purgatory.
What?
Which means we have a tie. 1, 1, and 1. So for that reason, we are going to do one more round. Now, to decide which one we are going to do, we are going to do a dice roll. Now, Mary, as you're the newest here, give me a number 1 to 6.
For my dad, I'll say 7.
That's not 1 to
Or
6.
no.
It's not 1
I
to
thought you
6.
said, I thought you said
highest
10.
number.
My fault.
Shout out your dad, no doubt about it.
Whoops! No, I'm just kidding.
Shout out Pop, but
Beautiful shout out, but that was Steiner math for a
I'm
second.
just kidding.
that was actually outstanding.
Right, 1 to 6. What's your number?
Shout out. What do you got? You still
I'll
have
do 5.
5. Okay. Clark. No, Angie. 1 to 6. What's your number?
3. My lucky number.
Clark. What's your number?
Ooh, I'm taking 2. Monster shout out Derek Jeter.
Okay.
And Biggie
It's
Smalls.
2. Clark, do you want heaven, hell, or purgatory?
Oh, I got more to send to hell.
Okay, there we are. Up next, we've got Wrestling Hell. Guys, the way this works, if you've not seen one of these rounds before, it's a sudden death round, right? So you're going to have 30 seconds, and I will cut you off on 30 seconds, to send something, anything wrestling related, doesn't even have to be NXT related at this point, anything wrestling related to Wrestling Hell. At the end of 30 seconds, I'm cutting you off. This is quick fire. Clark, you picked the round, so let's kick us off first. Let's go.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and start with something that I'm going to talk about for the final time, and that's just how awful Ricky Starks is, and how awful Ricky Saints is for winning this title, and how awful what happened last night was. Obviously, if you haven't seen the reel from off the air, you don't know yet, but this is the biggest joke in the history of this NXT title. It's disrespectful to the belt. It's disrespectful to the people that bought tickets in Fort Lauderdale. It's disrespectful to the fans. It's disrespectful to Obafemi. Everything about it is wrong.
That's your time. You're done.
Going to hell.
You're done. You're done.
You're
should
done.
have
You're
more than 30
done.
seconds,
You're
but
done.
even still.
You're done.
Angie, you're up next. What is going to be your take to send to Wrestling Hell?
I think the one thing that I would send to Wrestling Hell is the utilization of the Fiend, more specifically that Hell in a Cell match that he had with Seth Rollins. Yeah, no, that did not go the way it should have, especially that ending where a Hell in a Cell match winds up ending because of DQ or like referee stoppage. It made it to where it had all of that backlash and a lot of people chanting for refunds and also rooting for AEW. This was
And that
not
is
the way.
time. But a great take, Angie. Much better than Clark's. Clark, you were eliminated out of the gates. But it now will come down to Mary. Mary, what do you want to send to Wrestling Hell?
Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker at WrestleMania to ruin the streak. It should have never been him. We had so many other people that could have done the job 1,000 times better. Yeah, get it out of here. anything. Brock
There
Lesnar.
we are, short but effective, especially when it comes to the streak as well. I mean, that was just absolutely appalling. There's no denying that. Adrian says facts. Meanwhile, DCX says a brilliant answer from Angie. And Trizzy says Mary wins, and so does DCX Warlord. I'll tell you who doesn't win out of the gate before I even get the lever up. Clark, you're eliminated.
Hand
You're
up,
done.
hand up, hand up. I knew it. I had a
Dreadful
bad
showing.
feeling about that one. Hand up.
Dreadful. Your worst showing to date. Anyway, I've got the lever here, right? And we are going to have to look at both of these, right? Because the representation of the Fiend was something which was so good at the start. They showed him so well, but as time went on, to your point, Angie, the Hell in a Cell, the Goldberg match, they killed that man. And it absolutely sucked because it was such a good gimmick. And as for Lesnar defeating the streak, well, there's no defending that either. But at the end of the day, Lesnar defeating the streak is already in wrestling hell. So for that reason, Angie, the Fiend is going to wrestling hell, and you are today's winner.
Angie wins.
Let's go,
what a great
Angie.
show.
Second win. Second win. Second win. Angie 2 belts. Yeah.
Angie
That's
two
my
belts is
second
going.
win.
Angie 2 belts. Let's go.
That's right.
Fantastic
Great
show, guys,
show.
and fantastic debut, by the way. Shout out Mary as well to, in your debut show, get second place in Wrestling Heaven and Hell. That is fantastic. To Clark, I don't know what your excuse is. What is wrong with you?
Dude, bad judging. I don't know. It's kind of like the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
You didn't have
Blame the
anything
judges
planned.
now.
Yeah, it's bad judging all the way across the board.
Okay. Right, anyway, guys, thank you to everybody who's watched at home, commented along. We really do appreciate it. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. It helps us out massively. And once again, well done to Angie. Angie, anyone you want to thank?
Just want to thank everybody here, and thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Honestly, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I would not have mind if I lost to Mary, because I'm gonna be very honest. I was agreeing with you the entire time as well. That was a bad time for all of us. All of us sitting there, the whole place was in shock, and that's how we got that meme of the guy
Yeah.
who was sitting there
Yeah.
In the
wide-eyed.
audience.
No,
Just-
Yeah, in the audience,
Just
like.
Yeah.
That honestly was a wonderful take, and I would have tipped my hat to you for that. So GG's everybody, GG's Mary, GG's Clark. Thank you.
I don't know
so
if Clark
much.
had a good game, but apart from that, I agree with you.
Clark
But
did
anyway,
so
guys,
much.
end of the
It's
show.
all
Thank
love.
you
We
so
had fun.
much. Ba 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 ba.